We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Show me that you're mine, girl. Oh, yeah. Just give me some kind of sign, girl. Oh, my darling. Just show me that you're mine, girl. All right. You want me, give me little sweet talking.
Hello, welcome to 30,000 Feet. I'm your host, James KInney. We are here once again on this lovely Thursday, February 14, 2013. We're here live on LA Talk Live, where we are more than just talk. It feels good to be back this week. I've been traveling a lot. Man, it feels good to be home and to be settled. It's really important to get your routine going, and only when you're home can you do that. It's really hard to do it on the road. So happy to be back in LA. It's a gorgeous day here today. 70-something, or right at 70. No humidity, which is typical. A few little cotton ball clouds, which is really nice. Ladies and gentlemen, if you love me or if you love someone, call in at 323-247-7443 here on LA Talk Live, where we are more than just talk. 30,000 feet, for those of you who don't know, and some of you who do know, this is a show where we fly first class at very high altitudes. That is, of course, a metaphor for meaning how we live life and how we conduct our business. 30,000 feet is a state of mind. It's a place to go. If you're operating at a higher level of life and in business, then you know what I'm talking about. You're living at 30,000 feet. The show is a intimate portrayal of business professionals, politicians, creatives, and those who are successful or on their way to being successful. And we explore and discover the pathways and the journey, if you will, to success itself and how to live at 30,000 feet successfully. So now that I've given you a brief appetizer to the show, before we get to the entree, we're going to pay a few bills, get the show up and running. We got Ness on the boards today, Professor Ness, that is. Mr. Ness. We have, there we go. We have the infamous Matt Kirkwood, producer of 30,000 Feet.
I'm here, and happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Yes, brand manager at KInney Group Creative. And then we have a new KInney Grouper, Miss Emily Tam.
Hello.
Yeah, Emily is new to KInney Group Creative. We're really excited to have her. She's a graduate of USC and just a multi-talented young woman. So very happy to have her here on the show today. This is her inaugural run at 30,000 Feet.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
I'm excited.
Yeah, you excited to be here?
Yeah.
Feeling the love.
Yeah, it's going everywhere today.
That's awesome. All right, well, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with our special guest today. His name is Rhett Newberry. He is a CEO and an executive out of Texas, and we're going to talk to him what it's like to be living at 30,000 feet. We'll be right back. Thank you.
I think of the things we used to do, and my whole world turns misty blue. Oh, baby, I should forget you. Heaven knows I've tried.
Get the biggest and fastest refunds on the planet, guaranteed. One call to First Quality Tax Service does it. First Quality Tax Service is committed to their model of triple protection, worry-free, peace of mind accuracy guaranteed. In these difficult economic times, First Quality Tax Service has created options to help you avoid the upfront cost of their service, which means no out-of-pocket expense for you, assisting in personal and business tax preparation. Call 310-677-1047. That's 310-677-1047. Or stop by 1401 North La Brea Avenue on the corner of 64th Place and La Brea.
Hey, what's up? It's your girls, Forbidden Gems, inviting you to join us every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. sharp for the hottest, livest talk show, Forbidden Tuesdays.
Join us as we expose the new generation of love and dating and help y'all run the game right. Ladies beware, fellas bring out your notepads.
So don't forget to tune in to
Forbidden Tuesdays
exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV. This is
LA Talk Live,
and we are more than just talk.
You ready?
Virginie and you, I do. I think about you day and night. It's only right to think about the girl you love and hold her tight.
Rhett Newberry, how are you? Rhett Newberry, how are you? You doing all right out there in Texas?
Hello.
Hey, Rhett Newberry, how are you?
Is it James?
This is James KInney. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good, man. How are you, sir?
Pretty good. You know, your voice sounds exactly the same, even though I haven't seen you in about 20 years.
It's been a little while, man. I missed you, man. That's what's been to me so good about Facebook. It's been really nice to be able to catch up with guys like you and people that meant a lot to me that you don't get to see very often. So really proud of what all you're getting to do out there, man. It's great stuff.
Oh, thanks so much. Well, reading your bio and the conversations that we've had over the past years, I can say the same for you and about you. So congratulations on all of your success.
Hey, man, appreciate that. Not too bad for a couple of Cheddar's waiters, huh?
Exactly. For those of you who are out there that are watching and listening, Rhett Newberry is a friend of mine that we've been out of touch for a while in a physical sense, but via Facebook and social media, which you guys should check this thing out. It's called Facebook, and basically what you do is you go at facebook.com, www.facebook.com, and you can create this thing called a profile. And on there, you put up a picture, and then you can get reconnected with a bunch of people that you want to and didn't want to.
Hey, I didn't say
it. be in touch with, and you can let people know everything that you're doing and be really annoying.
Yeah, exactly. No joke, huh?
Yeah.
You know, and I try not to put too much on there, but you know, there's times, especially with my little girl and stuff like that, I get excited. It's kind of fun to be a proud dad.
Of course. You know, I find, Rhett, that I'm like you. I try to really only put business things on there. I rarely rant. Rarely. And I know I used to put some more personal stuff on there, and my brother called me one day, and he goes, listen, you need to watch what you're putting on Facebook. And this is kind of before I really started this company and really started to become a quote-unquote expert at it. Now I'm really, really careful if clients are looking at my feed, or they can find my feed, or, you know, you just never know who's watching. And it's amazing the business professionals that I've met that you look them up, because this is what everyone does these days, and you'll see them on Facebook holding shotguns, drinking beers, or if it's women, they're wearing, you know, skimpy outfits and taking shots at the bar, and you're like, it definitely has an effect on their personal brand.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It makes sense. And I'm somewhat thankful, or actually very thankful, that Facebook and Twitter and some of those things weren't around when I was in college or high school. You know, and I think my daughter, and then we got another little girl on the way, so we're very excited about that. But,
congratulations.
You know, and what they're going to face from a social media standpoint, and everything being out there for the world to see, you know, is pretty scary. So you bring up a good point.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So anyway, so for the audience, before we got on the very relevant conversation of social media and how it affects your personal brand, Rhett and I are fortunately now two executives in our mid-30s. But when we met, we were 18, and we were waiters at a place called Cheddar's. So if anyone's ever been to Texas or the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they have restaurants in Oklahoma, I think they have probably 25, 30 restaurants, or probably more now, right?
Yeah, I would say that's about right.
Yeah. Anyway, there's this down-home kind of, it's like an Applebee's, right? But like a Texas version.
Chili's, something like that.
Yeah, it's like a Chili's Applebee's. So Rhett and I had to wear these polos, and I think there was like 3 colors of polos, and then there was like an apron, and we were the 2 guys with the biggest smiles.
I'd say that's probably right, or maybe the only 2. And I still every time I go home, I drive by that place, and always think about you. We had some good times in there, and learned a lot, and you know, some of the lessons I learned from there still apply today. So waiting tables, and, you know, doing some of those things like that in your, especially your early work career, you know, definitely pay off down the road.
Well, it's a good lesson about sales and customer service.
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is. It really is.
Yeah. I would be very interested in learning if there's a direct correlation between people who smile and how effective they are at being leaders and at sales. Because if you look at where your career is now, and of course you went to college, you got your CPA and your MBA, so you're obviously you've been educated and qualified to do what you do. But there's a intrinsic quality about someone who's successful like yourself. Even though I haven't seen you since we worked at Cheddar's, I still remember your smile from when we were 18 years old. And now, 17 years later, I'm now 35, and I still remember your smile. And I know a lot of things that people tell me about me as an effective leader in the success that I've had. It's, James, you're just always smiling, you're always happy, and that helps the room and the people around you.
Sure. I think so, and it definitely, I think it gives a little bit more of a calming effect to the people that you're addressing, especially in tense type situations or different issues that you face. That demeanor sure does make a difference. I do think that would be interesting to see because it has to be a pretty direct correlation, I would think.
Yeah, there's so I'm writing a book called 30,000 Feet as well, and I think you've gotten some bits and pieces of me having aspirations, and I'm almost done with the book, Rhett. And in the book, there's a chapter where I talk about your attitude being your latitude, which is something that we've all heard. And I'd love to get your perspective on this, but I remember when I worked on Wall Street, there was a guy named Mike Deedigan, a guy from Ireland, because everybody in the company that I worked for, which was GDS, everybody was from England and Ireland, so mostly like European sharp suit guys. And, we were new and fresh, and part of our sales training, he was like, listen, I know this job is hard. I know it's not easy, but your attitude is your latitude. So depending on how you smile, how you perceive it, and how you look at it will truly determine your success. And I remember my first year there, and I was kind of just telling some stories in the book about first year. I was always saying, oh, this sucks, yeah. Dude, this sucks. And the only thing that ever came out of my mind and out of my mouth was, dude, this sucks, right? Yeah. And then year 2, when I flipped that around and I said, you know what, I'm learning, I'm becoming a good salesperson, I can take these skills anywhere I go in the world. For the rest of my life, I'm going to be a better person and a better business person because I have a sales skill ability. I know, I have those tools in my toolkit, tool chest, if you will. And when I changed my attitude, the second year when I was on Wall Street, I made a lot more money and had a lot more fun doing it. And I became a team leader because of that smile that I put into the workplace and my team. And as a direct correlation, I made more money, which made me more happy.
Right.
So,
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So what's your experience? I know that you worked at KPMG, which is obviously a very well-known accounting firm. I know you worked at Basic Energy. You have a lot of experience. So what would you tell our listeners and our audience in regards to just your attitude and how you succeed in the workplace and how you got to where you are?
Well, I think you brought up a really good point, and to kind of build on that somewhat too, I did the same thing when I was at KPMG. I absolutely hated it, for the first portion I was there, and I kind of did the same thing. Where it's like every day you're just dreading going to work and just dreading being there, and then you start to figure out if you can turn that around and see the positives in it. And now, what I reflect back on in my relatively young career is my time at KPMG, especially on the accounting side. I do very little accounting now. I still do some, but I've been able to build on that skill set, which is able to open up a lot of the doors that I see now just from the accounting side. So I think even if you're in a bad situation, or even at some point in your career that you don't think that you like what you're doing, you have to be learning something. And so focus on what you are learning and then how you'll be able to apply that later on in life for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So, give the audience a little bit of a rundown about your career and and where you are today. I guess from your tech days on.
Sure. Okay. Well, like we said earlier, I started off at KPMG, and I was there for 3 years and did auditing and things like that. And then I went off to Midland. My wife is a physician's assistant now, and so I started off in Dallas, Texas, and then we moved to Midland, Texas, which is a little bit smaller town for her PA school. She's a physician's assistant now, and so we moved to Midland for that, and that was a unique experience. Talking about moving and changing culture and changing places like that was different. But it's a great city, a great place to be. Learned a lot about the oil and gas business, saw a lot of different things. We went public in October of 2005.
Wow.
And so they brought me in to help with that. So I got to help do an IPO, got to help work with and develop a financial reporting department there. So that was a really neat part about being in kind of a smaller town. I was able to focus on and have a lot of opportunities that I might not have been able to have otherwise. But we went public. Got to develop the financial reporting department. Once I did that for a while, I was able to move into the way that company grew is we bought up smaller well servicing companies, which, again, in the oil and gas division. So we basically bought smaller companies and consolidated that industry.
Acquisition
so I got
model,
to move
right?
Got to move into the M&A market. We did about 5 deals for a little over $100 million in the 2 years I was there. And through that, I met some people that we're getting this business going, and they asked me to come in and run that and start it. And it was actually an industrial equipment rebuilding company, and it was owned by a much larger company out of North Carolina. They shut it down, and they were laid off all the people. They laid off about 25 people. And so we came in, started it back up. We hired all those people back, in about 3.5 years later. We're still going strong. We've become one of the largest industrial rebuilders in the country, and we are now serving compressors out of 21 different states, and we're doing it right here out of Lubbock, Texas. And so it's been really an encouraging thing, and we've been really blessed. We started in August of 2009, which, as you know, the economy wasn't great then.
Yeah.
And we were able to kind of muscle through that. Now we're seeing a lot of growth. So we've been really, really blessed for sure.
That's amazing, Rhett. Wow. Yeah, and it's so funny how you can say it all in like 2 or 3 minutes, but it's but it's thousands of hours of your life's work.
Yeah, was that a pretty good summary? Because you're exactly right. There has been a lot of highs and a lot of lows. I can guarantee you that. And but been really, really fortunate and really blessed to be in this position. And I'm really excited about our future and what we have to provide for our economy, and we're producing a product which is encouraging, and we've hired a lot of people and providing them. We try to provide the best family atmosphere we can and take care of our employees. So I feel like we've been put in a good position to do that for sure.
Exactly. I was just we had a girl come into the office earlier today and interview. I interviewed her with our account director this morning at like 9:30, and she asked my account director, how do you keep going on your worst day here at KInney Group Creative? And my account director looked at her and said, there are no worst days. There are no bad days here. And I said, well, that's a true testament to the way that I run the business. And what I hear you talking about, human capital is your greatest resource.
Right.
Without the people, it does not run. I mean, it's like, obviously you work in the industrial sector. It's like oil, without oil in the car, it seizes up.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's exactly right.
What do you account your success of? Well, I guess your success and your ability to manage the ebbs and flows of your career, as an employee and as an executive, because it's tough. A lot of people don't realize. I think they see pictures of me on Facebook that I strategically put up or on Instagram, and I don't ever put up like, oh, I'm feeling sad today, I'm frustrated, I'm pissed off. I don't put those pictures up. But you'll see a picture from New York or Nashville or wherever that I'm traveling to on business. And sure, those are the high moments, but do you have any advice for me and or the audience on how to manage those ebbs and flows?
Well, it's tough, isn't it? I think just being as honest as I can. I think that's one of the most difficult things to do, because there are days where you just want to throw your hands up, and it does get frustrating. Y'all are a little bit more positive than me. Sometimes it can be hard. I put a lot of that to my faith, and wherever I'm at, I know that I'm there for a purpose and there for a reason, and just really trying to dig in and find out why I'm there, and trying to make the best out of an opportunity. And like I said, I've been really blessed to have some days where, man, I've sat there and kind of looked at my desk like, what in the world am I doing? And just either prayed about it or really tried to look hard at where I am at. And sure enough, man, every time I can look back on those points, where I felt like I was at a really low point, like, man, that's where I really grew the most.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I was really being shaped and trained to do what I'm doing today. Without that time at KPMG, which was definitely a challenge. God, we were putting in, a ton of hours,
mm-hmm.
And it didn't seem like we were, really doing a whole lot. Well, that training and that foundation, that was laid at that point is what I continue to build on, to this day. There was days I was doing financial reporting, I was like, man, this is really hard, or, whatever, and we were going through audits and things like that, and why am I doing this? And I look back to those points today, man, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have either met the person I did to get me in this role,
absolutely,
or, learned what I knew now, or what I know now, to provide value for this company. Because, man, if you can't provide some kind of value, whether it's intellectual or, personality or something, if you don't bring something to the table, that you're probably not going to be asked to be a part of it. So those experiences where I thought I was there for no reason, or I thought I wasn't doing anything or being productive, those are the times I look back to the most,
mm-hmm.
to really, really shape me to what I'm doing today.
Absolutely.
And now, even today, even running this business, there's things that I'm learning now when I want to beat my head against the wall. But that's where I really try to reflect on, because I know in 5 years that's the time, that I'm really going to look back to. Like, man, that's where I really learned the most.
Mm-hmm. Now, we have a new team. We have a new team member that's with us in the studio today, and her name is Emily Tam. So, Emily, just on Monday, Rhett, I was telling her about value, and I basically laid out what value is all about, and I talked about how there's value between her and I, there's value between her and her coworkers, and then there's value between us and our clients, and that the value chain, if you will, is cyclical, and it goes round and round and round. So I really love how you reinforced and what you just talked about this. The true secret is value, and you have to put that lens through everything you do and say, hey, am I a value to my team as an executive? Am I a value to my clients as this? And obviously you guys have developed. So funny, Rhett. If you could see this, I'm not sure. Are you on Ustream watching as well?
No, I'm not. I wasn't able to get it to work.
Okay. So when you watch this later, you'll see me hold this paper up. And before you called in, I underlined customer service in your bio, and I wrote equals value next to it.
There you go.
So before you came on, I underlined strategic planning, cash flow management, investor relations, compressor builders, and then I underlined customer service, and I wrote equals value.
Yeah, that's right.
So
that's good. Yeah, I didn't even see that. I didn't even cheat.
Well, I know a great consulting firm with offices in New York and LA. If you want to hire somebody, right? Anyway, so hey, Rhett, listen, let's take a quick break and pay some bills. Listen to some music. It is Valentine's Day, so I do want to let you know that I'm sending love to you, your employees, your wife, and your girls.
Appreciate that.
So happy Valentine's to you guys. Let's listen to a little music, take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back with Rhett Newberry. We're going to continue the conversation about what it's like to live at 30,000 feet. We're here on LA Talk Live, where we are more than just talk. If you have a question for myself or Mr. Newberry, give us a call, 323-247-7443. We'll be right back. Rhett, make sure to stay on the line, please. All right.
If you are serious, look girl, then don't play with my heart. It makes me furious. Oh, but if you want me to love you, then baby I will. Girl, you know that I will. Tell it like it is. Don't be ashamed. Let your conscience be your guide. But Lord, I know deep down inside of me, I believe you love me. Forget you.
Hi everyone, Chef Richard Petty here to tell you about LA Talk Live's new cookie show, Let's Do Lunch, with me, your host, Chef Richard Petty. Let's Do Lunch launches Saturday, January 19th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Well, tune in to Let's Do Lunch with me, Chef Richard Petty, Saturdays, 10 to 11 a.m., exclusively on LA Talk Live. We're more than just talk.
Hi, this is Romy Klinger.
This is Rose Garcia.
And we are inviting you to join us for the Romy and Rose Show every Friday at 4 p.m. Tune in for the Romy and Rose Show. We're going to be talking about pop culture, dating, business 101, what's ratchet, what's not ratchet, and music and so much more. So don't forget, tune in to the Romy and Rose Show. About to get real.
Exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio, R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv. Reality show handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
We're real talk.
Yeah, that's a good song right there, Rhett.
Hey man, I've been enjoying the music.
I know.
I just want to give a shout out to my girl Nicole on Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah. Rhett, what's your wife's name?
My wife's name's Leanne.
Leanne. We're gonna give a big shout out to Leanne as well. And Emily, happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
My mama, your mama.
Yeah.
All the
My
mamas.
mom.
Your mama.
Yeah.
Our grandmamas.
Yes.
And then the future mamas.
Yes.
See, my wife, Leanne, is 7.5 months along, pregnant right now, so she could use it. She needs all the love she can get right now.
I'm sure. So, how many little girls do you have?
We just have one, and so this will be our second.
That's amazing, man. You know, you've got the company, and the family. I still don't have the family part yet.
Hey, man, that's all right. You know, that's been one of the most fun things. And when we first had our first little girl, Riley, and we found out about that, man, I was so terrified I couldn't think straight.
Yeah.
And so with this one, I'm more excited. I know a little bit more what to expect, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Riley, and then another little girl on the way.
Yes, that's right.
That's awesome. That's right. So you guys live in Lubbock area now, right?
That's right. We live in Lubbock, Texas. That's right. It's about 5 hours west of Dallas-Fort Worth.
Yeah, I've been through Lubbock once, and it was brief. I don't remember where we were going, but what is it like to live in Lubbock? How big is Lubbock?
Lubbock's about a quarter of a million people, and it's been really good, James. And like the most to kind of tell you a little bit about our business, we're called the Pros Company, and we rebuild compressors in the natural gas, industrial air, and refrigeration markets. Mm-hmm. And so we have compressors coming to us throughout the country. And so Lubbock is, if you take the grid lines off a map, Lubbock is a perfect location as far as being centralized, relatively, to the country. And the business was here because that's where when we took it over, when they shut that down, this is where it was. So we didn't want to move locations or anything like that. So we kept it here, and it's been tremendous. I mean, it's a nice community. It's a good sized city. It's at 250,000 people. So there's enough to do, but it still kind of has, somewhat of a small town feel. And then from a business standpoint, I wouldn't change it at all because it's a perfect location for us to get compressors throughout the entire country. So that part's been really nice.
That's great. So it's a kind of city where you know a lot of people, but you don't know everybody.
Yeah, I think you know me. I mean, it's real laid back, and it's a good pace, a good pace for me and what I like, and it's been a really good location for us. And my wife, coincidentally, is from here, so that makes it even better. So we still have family here and grandparents right here. So it's been a great place, and hopefully get to be here a really long time.
Sounds like the American dream, man. It's awesome. you the wife and the little girl, another little girl,
and I'm like I said, hopeful that just keep it going and continue to work really hard for sure.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like my life has been, I'm super thankful. Like I've been so fortunate to live in London and New York, and especially I'm a small town Texas boy like you. So
that's right.
I mean, like, but go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, but it is funny just the difference in personalities because I consider like I went from Dallas and then I went to school at Texas Tech University, which is right here in Lubbock. And moved back to Dallas for a while. And, that pace, which Dallas, I think in the grand scheme of things, isn't really that fast. And so when I moved to Midland, and Midland, Texas is a little bit south of here, big oil and gas city. And, they had about 100,000 people. And so that was when we moved from Midland, at 100,000 people to Lubbock, at 200,000 people, it felt like I was moving up to the big city. So you definitely got to see a lot more of the big cities for sure.
Well, it's I just consider it a blessing. I remember when I was a little kid in the Sherman Denison area, I just kind of always knew that I kind of had starry eyes, and there was always something about me that was a little different. I guess that means I'm weird, but I had dreams of London and New York, and it's so crazy that I wound up living, and not just living, but thriving in those cities. And and our office in New York continues to do well. And now with the latest evolution of my life and career, to be bi-coastal and own companies in both cities is, I mean, a lot of mornings I wake up and I say, what the, you know what I mean? Like,
but let me say this though, and I think one of the things I do really well is I know people, and I can. And I think as from a business standpoint, putting people in the right position to succeed is a challenge. And a lot of times we see people frustrated and things like that. They're just not doing what they're designed to do. But when I met you, James, and we waited tables there in Arlington, Texas at Cheddar's, I always knew you had something special in you. And it's been so much fun. And, before the Facebook time and all that kind of thing, I'd always wondered what you ended up doing. I saw you on Facebook, and I saw you were living in New York and had the company. Oh, my God. It's like, that is perfect. That is exactly what he needs to be doing. So just couldn't be more proud of you and what you're accomplishing. It sure is a lot of fun to watch, that's for sure.
Well, Rhett, I really appreciate that. I'm truly grateful, and like you said, it's been a lot of ups and downs, but we're more up than we're down. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, and I know, the ups and downs, I know we're going to continue. This is a highlight, for me, getting to do an interview in Los Angeles or whatever. But there's going to be.
Yeah, you're in Hollywood right now, baby.
This is big time. Man. This is great. So no, it's really a lot of fun, and it's neat, And I think what 5 years ago I couldn't say is that I hadn't done it, And there's things that I thought I could do, but until there's a lot of people that have great ideas, and it's a shame they don't have, and a lot of people that could do it. It's just taking that step, that step out to kind of hang your own shingle and get out there and do it. And it's a lot of fun to see people, and now I can say I have been through some of the fires of a startup and raising capital and trying to get the money in and trying to do some of those things, and to see it kind of come to fruition has really been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Let's, and I would love to dive into that a little bit more. Besides for all of the go James and Rhett talks that we've been having, which of course we should be supporting each other and congratulating each other. But since the show is a business show,
sure,
it would be great if you could walk us through a little bit of your I'm going to say a few of your nightmares and concerns that you've had with running a business of your size. And then after those, maybe we'll, you know what, let's just start with those, and then we'll go to the positives and some like hardcore strategy. So take us through concerns, nightmares, really tough problems with running your business as it is now.
Well, I think the biggest thing for a company our size was raising the capital, especially in a market like it was in 2009. You know, when the economy looks so bleak, and a big portion of what we do is natural gas. And at that time, you know, natural gas prices are still bad, but you know, specifically at that time, nobody was giving out money, and so. That was, you talk about a nightmare, you know, the first couple of payrolls, you know, trying to get, and it's another thing too when people say, yeah, you know, if you ever start something up, let me know, you know, I'd love to invest with you and all those things, you know, taking that from, hey, now we have started something up, now let's have a check. It's two different things. So, you know, we had a business plan and just a sheet of paper, and we went around and raised the money that we needed to raise. So those first few payrolls, you know, were always nerve-wracking. So, you know, the nightmare, if I say it like that, you know, for us was that, you know, getting the proper capital in here that we needed to grow. And I'll be honest, we've been very fortunate from a cash flow standpoint. We have really good customers, and we have guys that pay us, you know, relatively quick. So from that standpoint, it was alleviated pretty fast. You know, there's nightmares daily, just, you know, the work that's coming in, if they are coming in, they're not coming in, you know, that type of thing. And then a personnel standpoint, you know, do we have the right people in place, and do we have the right organizational chart to capture and truly produce the work that we need to produce, you know, to make good money and continue to grow. And you know, and even last year at this time, you know, we had a lot of compressors in the door, but we couldn't get them out of the shop. So. And like I said, we rebuild industrial equipment, we manufacture that type of equipment. So to actually get it out of the shop, you know, it was interesting because it's almost like we always said it was a good problem, but it's still a problem that we were having trouble meeting demands. And so, I mean, you talk about having nightmares.
That's a lot of stress.
Call me the next day, wondering where their compressor was at. It created some pretty tense moments. But you know, so the second part of last year. We tried to alleviate some of that and hire some additional people and really try to change our strategy from a quantity in and quantity out standpoint. So the second part of last year, we really tried to take a step back from the operational side and figure out what we were doing wrong and try to fix it. And so far in 2013, it's paid off really well.
Oh, that's great. So who am I? If I hire the pros company to rebuild my compressor, am I a natural gas guy out in the field doing fracking, or am I an oil and gas? Who am I?
You were about three different types of people.
Okay.
And what we've and I'll answer that directly. Three types of people: natural gas, mostly in the processing plants and pipelines and wellhead. So if you're actually producing natural gas, you would use these compressors at any point throughout the life of the natural gas, whether it's getting out of the ground, processing it, or actually sending it out to market.
Okay.
The other side of it is industrial air. You know, the compressors that they use in, you know, like a tire store, you go in and they change your tires, zip, 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 and they undo your tires and take them off. That's running off a screw compressor somewhere. You never realize how expensive compressed air is until you get in a business like this, because those are actually very small compressors that are doing that. So you just picture large manufacturing facilities, mostly in manufacturing plants is where you're going to see these screws. So as you're driving around and you look at large warehouses and large plants, if they're producing anything, they're running compressed air. And the last, and really this is actually the first, it's interesting how we started, but refrigeration. So if you're an ice cream manufacturer, anything that has to keep cold storage warehouse, if you have to keep something cold, you're going to run these screw compressors. And what we found out, it's interesting, as we get into the business, these compressors were actually kind of born, so to speak, in the refrigeration market to keep food cold, keep storage warehouses cold. and then they kind of transferred into industrial air, and then they went to natural gas. And
Mm-hmm.
it coincidentally, it's kind of biggest, middle, and smallest. We actually started in the smallest because we all had a natural gas background. And so you talk about being really fortunate. My biggest concern when we got into this business was simply demand. Is anybody going to need this product? Well, as we got into it, we realized, hey, this industrial air market, the refrigeration market, those are both, from a volume standpoint, significantly larger even than natural gas is. So we've been really fortunate in that regard, how many of these screw compressors are out there.
And do you receive them by truck or by rail?
By truck.
By truck.
Everything is freighted in, and we've been able to negotiate some pretty good pricing on several carriers and things like that. So they actually pull the compressor off, and then they send it in to us.
Right, and then you rebuild it when it breaks, and then you send it back to them. So the value to them is that they don't have to buy a new one, because a new one would be crazy expensive, right?
Exactly, and that's what's been so encouraging for us. In either kind of economy, this deal makes sense, because right now we are strategically focused on pricing. Because we usually run about half a new, and so that's kind of our rule of thumb. So we'll save you half of that new compressor. In addition to that, we'll turn it around a lot quicker. So if you buy a brand new one, that lead time could be up to 14, 16, 18 weeks, but we could turn around to you in 4 to 5 weeks. So so when things pick up, our value, because when those plants are shut down, they aren't producing anything.
Yeah, they're losing a ton of money. Yeah,
they're losing a ton of money. As a matter of fact, most businesses, have spare compressors. As a matter of fact, we were down in Louisiana a month or so ago. One of the largest catfish producers is running about 6 to 8 large compressors, and so they don't keep a swing, which is crazy. So if they go down, they're losing that much production on a day-to-day basis. So typically people keep a swing compressor, and so they'll put the new compressor or the rebuilt compressor on, and then they'll send us the one that failed, to have rebuilt, and then they'll have it ready to go. So when another one goes down, man, they can put ours right back on it.
Yeah, well, that's a strong value proposition. That makes absolute complete sense. Why buy a new one and wait 14 to 16, maybe even 18 weeks, when you could go through the pros company and do it in 8 weeks and pay half the price of a new one?
That's exactly right. And our lead time, we go back in. What's nice about us too, we have a heavy machine shop, and so it's really hard to explain, but we can actually remachine all the internals of the compressor back to OEM spec, and then all the bearings that we put in. I don't know how familiar you are with any of that, but anyway, all the internals of the compressor that go back in, are OEM spec, which is an original manufacturer. So the run times on ours versus new have proven to be about the same. So you talk about return on investment. You pay half with new with us, you get the same run time for a quicker lead time. It makes perfect sense.
That's awesome. Now, I have one more question for you on the business side, and then I want to get a little bit political, because we talked about the economy a bit there.
Okay.
How do you determine your margins and your pricing, and how good are your margins? You don't have to discuss that on the radio, but how good are your margins, and how do you discover those?
Well, it depends on who's asking. Now we do we do okay. I mean, it's kind of hard to. It's really on a case by case basis. As far as how we price the compressors, but we have to. We always tell people, look, we have to make money, or we're not going to be around, to serve you. And that's, the value that we're providing to you as the end user. If we were just going to give that to you, or if we're going to give it to you with hardly any margin, we have to build in some margin there for, if we have a warranty issue or something like that, we have to be able to adjust for that, or we won't be around.
Yeah.
So, we kind of look at every case individually, to be
honest. Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. On some you make a nickel, and some you make $1, but as long as you're making something, then that definitely helps.
Yeah. You're not gonna be around just for fun.
Yeah, because your hard costs never change. Your hard costs never change. Yeah.
Right.
Well,
and we've got a little bit better on some of our purchasing. and things like as we've had more people here and free up some of my time, free up some of our buyers' time, we've been able to negotiate. As we buy more, there's been some purchasing power from us on a volume standpoint, because we do buy a lot of parts for these compressors. So we've been able to negotiate some of our internal pricing down. So we do our best to, and then we try to pass on to our customer as well.
Yeah, I mean that's the same model that we have. We're fully integrated for the most part, so that we don't have to charge people, $20,000 a month to do what we do. If you work with us, we can do, we'll charge you 10. And we're your PR firm, your marketing firm, your advertising agency. We're shooting your videos. We're creating your graphics. We're building your website. And we're on your business consulting team from an operational efficiency standpoint. So I think, we deliver an immense amount of value for that 10K.
Well, that's great.
Yeah. And, and then if you factor in, if you were to hire, basically a company will never have, 7 or 8 people on my team that they couldn't afford to hire that in-house. If you do healthcare, insurance, and taxes, there's no way that they could afford to hire 10 more people just to do what we do for them.
Exactly.
Well, okay, so Rhett, last question. Let's get a little bit political. I'm a small business owner, or I guess I would say a tiny business owner. You're small to medium, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's about right.
29 employees?
What's that?
How many employees do you guys have?
We've got 35.
35 employees. Yeah. Okay. So, now, look, presidents are presidents. I think they all try to make good decisions in general. But the president is only literally a third of the problem, because if anyone knows anything about government, he is literally a third, or the executive branch. Being based in Lubbock, going from startup to 35 employees, which is awesome since August of 2009. That's pretty amazing, man. But what's the economic landscape for you? Like, do you feel like the economy is like, or do you feel like everything's okay? Do you feel like the federal government has any sort of amazing role in your success, or do you feel like they hinder you because of the corporate taxes? I mean, fact of the matter is, in the U.S., our corporate tax rates are higher than any other country in the world. So I know that to be a fact, but what's your perspective on all of that?
It's interesting. I was actually able the last 2 years. I won't be able to do it this year because our little girl is on the way. I was asked to go to D.C. For the last 2 years to kind of help talk to some of our representatives about small business and the issues we face. It's difficult to kind of put your finger on. I would never really say they help, but there's times where I really got frustrated with it, especially our healthcare cost that first year went up almost 33% year over year, and that obviously put that was pretty scary. We have margins, but that's a lot, and for the amount of people that we're trying to hire, makes it difficult. But from a day-to-day standpoint, it's difficult because you don't know what some of the climates are and what's going to be coming. I tell you, I think the end of last year was difficult because of the election year. I don't know if it was my first election year to go through as a business owner, and I think there was a lot of people slowed down. Whatever side you're on, there was just that uncertainty, and I don't think there's two things the economy can't grow on. It's uncertainty and high energy prices, and I think both of those things really impede growth for sure. So now it seems like that we've got some stability in Washington. The election's over, and everybody knows where we're going over the next 4 years, or at least somewhat. I felt like there's that stability is kind of back, and so far in 2013, we've been it's been really, really busy, and busier probably than we've ever been.
Yeah.
And then so that part, it's hurt us. The healthcare portion and the uncertainty. I think in general, the uncertainty around the healthcare portion of the federal government, as far as what's affected us the most, I'd have to say is healthcare, and just the uncertainty and the amount of price increases we've seen. Last year they went up 10%, and I asked our guys, well, why did it go up? It's like, man, everybody's going up, and nobody really seems to know why. And that, it's like everybody's just throwing all this money at healthcare, and that, to me, that is what has hurt us the most.
Yeah, it's so complex. I mean, I'm still confused about what I should do and what I shouldn't do and what I should offer and what I shouldn't offer. It's really tough to be an employer and offer this, compensation package that's X, Y, and Z. I voted this last election, and I really wasn't for Rick Santorum, but there was one thing that he said that I really liked, and he's the only candidate that I heard say it, and he said, let's do zero taxes for corporations. And if you think about it, I can tell you right now as a business owner, and we only have 1 minute left, Rhett, if there was zero corporate tax, I really would hire another person, at least, if not two.
Oh, yeah.
I totally would. But with the tax stuff, it scares you to death because you're in fear that you're just going to get this bill from the IRS and it's going to shut you down because they want their money right then. Like they don't do they don't do a pay period. They say we want our check now. This is how much you owe. Yeah.
No, that's right. And where we're trying to position ourselves, good economy or bad economy, you still need to use us because if it's a great economy, we'll get you turned around, a lot quicker than the OEM. And if it's a bad economy, use us because we're a lot cheaper. In which both of those things are true. So we try to just position ourselves to take advantage of either side of it. So that's the only thing that we can really do to control it. But man, I wish that healthcare stuff would really stabilize. It sure would help.
Yeah, I mean, I'm clueless. I think I need to read some more. I'm going to meet with Matt Kirkwood's dad, who's an expert at this stuff, and try to get some insight on what to do with healthcare and the changing laws. So I got to be compliant so I don't get shut down.
You have to do it the right way, and that's the only way to do it. And we actually just outsourced our health, our HR, and our health insurance and all that to try to pull in with a much larger group. And
that's what I'm going to do.
Stabilize some of our health insurance policies.
Yeah. Hey, Rhett, thank you so much. It really has been a pleasure, man. We should wrap on the weekend a little bit on cell phone so I can continue to learn from you some more so I can get my firm up to 35 people.
Well, James, I sure appreciate the time, and man, it's really good talking to you. Very proud of you, and wish you nothing but the best, my friend.
Thank you. All the best to your company and, of course, to your family, your extended family. Matt, who produces the show, will make sure that you get the show in a link format via email. So feel free to put this on your company website, share it on your company social media, because that would help us as well. Continue to grow the audience from 240,000 on and on. Thank you, Emily Tam. Thank you, Matt Kirkwood. Thank you, Professor Ness. This is LA Talk Live, where we are more than just talk. Our guest today was Rhett Newberry from the Pros Company in Lubbock, Texas. Rhett, thank you so much for your time. Happy Valentine's Day, and once again, truly a pleasure to speak to you.
Hey, same here, James. Thank you very much.
All right, take care. Thank you, America.
My dreams, nobody but you, baby. Sometime I wonder if you love me like you say you do. You see, baby, I've been thinking about it, yeah. And I've been wanting to get next to you, baby. You see, sometimes I fool my arms, I say, oh, baby, needing you has proven to me to be my greatest dream, yeah.
Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. You're tuned in to LA Talk Live, where we're more